Hello people, welcome to A Toast to Remember. Today we are glad and honored as we have with us Padma Shri awardee Dr. Bala V Balachandran, who we also call Uncle Bala. Uncle, very good morning.
Thank you very much, Ankur.
Uncle, despite of the other achievements, one achievement stands apart, and that is at the age of 82 you're still going way better than young generations. And at the age of 67 you started this organization, or rather an institution, Great Lakes Institute of Management. So Uncle, what is that one thing that keeps you motivated even at the age of 82 and at the age where people just retire and sit at home?
I think it's a very, very good question, and I want to make it. There is in everybody's life, there is something happens,
Right.
and that something, one or two things, not only one thing. It may be happening at different part randomly. You never as unexpectedly something happens, and then that gives you a sort of a value of your life. And how do you want to shape your life? I am born in a village called Pudupatti, but actually I was settled in a place nearby called Pudukkottai, which is later on become a district. But I was born before independence, 1937. So I am 82, that is exactly what it is. It so happened, it's random, right? My parents or my father, first cousin, he is a very well-known freedom fighter from South India by name Dr. S. Satyamurthy. He is the person who created Kamraj Nadar, he was actually, I know him when he was 18 or 19 years old. I was 2 years old. I think we are 17 years apart. And he was raised by him, and he also was there. And it so happened Mahatma Gandhi wanted to come to Pudukkottai because there were two important leaders from South India in terms of freedom fighting. One is Rajagopalachari, whom we call him as Rajaji, and he was even the first Governor General, and he was also a Chief Minister. The other man was a ICS type officer, member of the Parliament, and amazing English. And he was a terror to the white Britishers who were ruling us. So, but he was impressed, and he was devoting his life like the two leaders of the Tamil Nadu, at that time Madras Presidency, with Mahatma Gandhi. So he invited Mahatma Gandhi to come to his native place, which is Pudupatti, Pudukkottai, and he agreed. And that was, I think, if I remember right, it is 1940-41. So I was 3 years old, 4 years old maybe, maximum. At that time, this man, because of his English, my father is also a lawyer, BA/BL. He was in Singapore. But this guy's English is sparkling, amazing. Even a kid will be looking at him with some surprise and happiness. So he taught me the whole English even when I was 3 years old. Not only alphabet, some words, how to say, how to greet, etc., etc. And any kid at the age 3 is very cute, right, with a half trouser and a shirt, and coming from a family of Brahmins, Tam Brahm, as they call. We had a lot of things to read, and everybody puts more emphasis on education. So my father is no exception. This uncle also is not an exception. He is my call Uncle Satya, or Uncle Murthy. These are the two ways. So and I had another brother who is also here by name Shankaran, but he was only 1 year old. So my father wanted to go, and I said, I want to go also. I do not know who is Gandhi. 3 and a half years. What the heck I know. So we went. But the guy who was the king of Pudukkottai, he is a guy who got a special deal from Britishers by betraying a guy by name Kattabomman. He is a fighter, very well known. There is a movie, Shivaji Ganesan did that. So because of that thing, so the people can arrest him and execute him. He got a deal that he need not pay any taxes to the British government. So he's a stooge, the The king is a stooge of, let us say, the Britishers. And therefore, since Gandhi is coming, he didn't want to make him step foot within the Pudukota border, Pudukota state. It is called Pudukota state or Pudukota kingdom. So we have to be kept in a border. So we have to go about walk by walk, about 6 kilometers to go to the outskirts. Now it is called Satyamurti Nagar, that place where Satyamurti brought him. So I went there. There were a lot of people, and here is a person who is bald and whatnot. I have no idea who it is. So everybody was craving and crying and Gandhi ji ke jai and all those stuff. So since he arranged the whole thing, I could go near him and whatnot. So he took me there, and then I was running around, and I was obviously cute, a young kid, no fear, no stress, nothing. So who is this kid? Though he says, my cousin Venkatram's son. Hey, boy, come on here. So does he know, he thought I know only Tamil. Does he know Hindi? No. But does he know English? Yes. So he took me and put me on his lap. I do not know whose lap I am, but later on I know all those stuff. There is a little photograph also in my life story. It is there. So he put me in lap and asked a very simple, strange question, which should not be asked to any 3 years completed, 4th year running kid. Son, he said that. And I said, all right. What will you do for our country? I have no idea what is this country, all this stuff, etc. Somehow I looked at him and said, I will die for the country. He cried. See, the crying he did is registered in my eyes. The man is able to say there is one focus, only focus, independence, country. What can I do? What can you do? What can this guy do? What can even a kid can do? Later on, I analyzed all this stuff. So that happened. And I said, I die for the country. Of course, everything went all right. Then everybody said that he is Mahatma Gandhi and whatnot, etc. Okay, so he is doing the movement and all. And the uncle is also doing the same thing with him. That was over. Then I studied in little college, school, like any other kid. And it is not a big deal, Kulabati Balaya school. But I was trained by Christianity. So after my 8th grade, or what, which is the junior high school, the high school, the 8th to 11th or something like that, was in a Christian Swedish mission high school, which is a very well-known school. Generally, the Christian schools are a little more relatively quality, caring, sacrificing, and people are more giving rather than taking, right? Compared to some, what is my salary, etc. Generally, the priests do that. And there was again a Swedish guy, he was the president, tall guy, white man. The white dress appealed to me because of his dress. And he also somehow liked me, because suppose some kid is relatively cute in a whole class, he may not be stronger. I'm a puny guy also, little guy, not well built, but cute, right? So even some movies I went, but anyway. So this guy helped me to understand, and I heard and more of Jesus and his life, all right, as a Hindu. And I was very much interested in why Jesus sacrificed, what he was trying to do. He had one goal. Here is Gandhi, one goal. Everybody is a one goal guy. And that is what they want to do. And generally they die because of that goal. When they achieve that, not before they achieve that, right? Even take Swami Vivekananda, this guy is coming today, same kind of a guy. So then I went for Annamalai University, and it so happened I was sort of I was very much enamored after uniform. So that is actually me in Ladakh. But anyway, so I finished my honors. I was a lecturer. I was 22 years, unmarried. And suddenly, in 1962, this surprise Chinese attack, when I have a relative of mine who is the secretary for private secretary for Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the then Prime Minister, first Prime Minister. And I saw some photographs that our Jawans were killed like a butchered without any good boot, and the total battalion of 1,000 people had only 800 rifles, and 200 fellows do not have anything. So somebody has to die if they have to have a rifle. And then there were no good boots, and they have to fight. And at the same time, the enemy has a light machine gun. These guys have a 303 rifle, where you can put the bullets, but each time you have to cock, aim, and then shoot. By the time you finish one round of one bullet, 50 rounds will go to your body. So they were killed actually in 2 days' time. More than 12,000 people were killed. There is a movie called Hakikat, which was banned naturally by Government of India. You have to see that. But anyway, so I decided, without telling my father, I want to join the army. But not the infantry, because the rifle is not good for me. I was also in my training at Purandar, Kadakwasala, Dehradun, all these places. I am enamored after the tank. And I was a forward observation officer in my training also. So I was the best marksman. So when there is an appeal, I will join the army if you put me in less than 1 week. But I had all the training in Kadakwasala of Armored Corps. So they gave me an exception. With a 1 week training, I was allowed to go to the war front. But I want to go to the war front. The reason why you guys are all learning Chinese is essentially for that reason. Because Chinese will be our enemy.
Right.
All right? But we can succeed not necessarily militarily, but economic warfare, we can dominate. So therefore, my thinking was, how do I make sure India is not again surprised, but well prepared, so that we know the language before they know our language. We know our culture. We know how scheming they are. Just like the Godfather says, keep your friends close, enemies closer. How can I keep them at closer range? So it is extremely important that India, the modern India, should be really ready for any potential fight, whether it is military, economic, or socio-economic. So it is clear to me when I was about 22 years old, and in the 1962 when the Chinese attack happened, there was a public appeal from the then Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, to have some people in a short service commission and work with the country in the defense. Given that I had already been in the NCC as a second lieutenant, after a lot of training, without any thinking, I just joined the defense for a short service commission, and successfully fought the Chinese and also finished my tenure, and then came back to Chennai to be as an administrative officer of a 13 Madras battalion, which gave the NCC training to Laila College and Vivekananda College and a few others. At that time, it was very clear in my mind, and there was a little movie also called Ratha Tilakam, where the Chinese attack was given, and also a movie called Hakikat, talking about this Chinese onslaught, and I was advising them. So that time itself, I decided that when we are going to have another problem anytime with Chinese, India should be more prepared for defense, in equipment, in reconnaissance, and getting the intelligence sufficiently needed, so that we will have a super time in the next time. But I also felt the economic warfare may happen rather than a military warfare, because there is so many problems and everybody will lose. So if that is the case, how can we win the Chinese in terms of business, investment opportunities, relationship, and prosperity building, economically and socially relevant. And that is when I decided to have some programs at MDI at Gurgaon. I really got the money from United Nations Development Program, close to $1 million, and trained all the faculty and created the MBA program. So I got a personal experience of not only teaching but administering, creating MBA program. Then when that particular MDI program was over from 1991 to 1996-7, then there was a lot of people in India as well as in US, faculty and also industry leaders. They felt that we should do a very high-class, world-class education in MBA education, but not necessarily the 2-year program. Because the 1-year program has been successfully launched and did very well at Kellogg, and I was in charge of that. So we decided to have a new initiative combining the resources of industry leaders both from India and US of Indian origin, like Yogi Deveshwar, Narayan Murthy, Rahul Bajaj, Adi Godrej and whatnot. Similarly in US also, where McKinsey head was at that time Rajat Gupta and several others, we thought let us do that. And given my experience and also the relationship between Wharton and Kellogg, when we did a program for Bangkok in Thailand, we decided let us do something like that, probably in the business capital of India in Mumbai rather than in any other place. And we got some deal and ISB was created. It was originally supposed to be called GAME, Global Alliance for Management Excellence. But anyway, it turned out to be ISB and I was a very main player in terms of both curriculum as well as faculty development. So I was in charge of all the faculty recruitment, curriculum development, and also Dean Search Committee. So ISB got started in the past 2-3 years, but at the same time, I was working very heavily with Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, the then Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. At that time, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana was together. The headquarters was in Hyderabad. So that was working so much, and therefore the question of where to put the campus was not clear, excepting we all thought it will be in Mumbai, probably near the Powai area because of the IIT Bombay also or Mumbai involved in that. However, the space was not enough and there was some political issues happened, so therefore we have to find other places, and Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore and Hyderabad were candidates. Finally, because of the super initiative of the then Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, who identified very quickly about 200 acres of land and came with all the secretaries into the airport itself after we had some difficulties in other cities. He just immediately gave us, here is the secretary, this secretary will collaborate with all the other secretaries of PWD, Higher Education, Electricity Board and Chief Secretary, and you have to deal with them. Here is 200 acres of land. The decision was done right at the airport. And then, of course, we got a very nice land. Of course, a lot of recultivation has to be done because there was so much of stones and whatnot. And significant money was spent to put the ground leveled in such a way to put a very significant world-class institution, and ISB was created. The first batch was in 2001, and I was the first teacher for that class, and it was very nice. Now, the ISB story went off 3 years or so. The tuition fees, which was started with a very simple way, but since the money was needed, and therefore they felt that the students' tuition fees has to significantly increase, and the tuition fees probably went by about 60-70% higher than what it was in the beginning in less than 3 years. So I had some difficulty on that because the students should not finance the investment. It should be the industries. And due to the Y2K, which was supposed to be a big deal, but unfortunately a lot of startups happened and a lot of pledges were only pledges and money did not come. And ISB borrowed a lot of money from at least 3 banks, ICICI, Vijaya Bank and a few others, State Bank. And that means the tuition fees are significant and they want to increase the size. And there were a lot of discussion. While that was going on, the people in Chennai and Tamil Nadu, like the Murugappa group had the senior management, Sanmar group senior management, TVS group senior management, several others, a lot of family businesses. Look, you are from South India, Tamil, and also lived in Chennai. We don't have any IAM. Even Kozhikode has an IAM. And you have done so much in, for example, to start with that IAM Bangalore in 72, 73. The first 6 faculty were recruited by me. And the curriculum was designed by me with Mr. N.S. Ramaswamy, the first director or executive director. Unfortunately, he died. But then we went to this thing, so why not you do something like that? So I thought, let me do that. And I had a plan to do that in a different way. And unfortunately, I had a little flag from the president of ISB, Rajat Gupta, that I cannot do this. And he was sort of saying, if you do that, then there will be some competition and also you will not be in a position to help ISB and so something like that. So he was also sort of persuading me, even telling me like, I will talk to Don Jacobs, the dean, that she should not allow. But anyway, let me not go to the arguments and whatnot. But there was some meeting where he was saying that we will not allow. And finally he said, you cannot do that because you are not a industrialist or a rich man who need a lot of money, and look at how much money we needed in the ISB, etc. And he also made a statement, you are after all a professor, so you can preach, teach, but not do some institution building like that. That was a fantastic motivation for me because it challenged my ability to create certain things. Even though the money and support came from several industry leaders, I can do the same thing. I got United Nations money for MDI, the money from even American leaders like Hank Paulson and whatnot. Why not I do the same model? I can also raise that. But what the heck, I can do that. So it was very, very clear to me. This is 2001 I started that. This is 2003, this conversation. So 2004 I wanted to start right away. The planning was something like 4 or 5 years in ISB. The planning was 4 or 5 months in a Great Lakes because I want to start a high quality, amazing thing, but not worry about too much of money and not put too much of money. Like, I don't think any business school need 200 acres. In my opinion, 15 acres is enough. Right. Even Harvard, Kellogg, all of them are less than 10 acres, right? So why do I need that? And the government of Tamil Nadu also wanted to give a land subsidized, but it is about 2-3 years. At the time, Selvi Jayalalitha was the chief minister. So we rented a leased building, started the thing right in 2004, announced at the end of the 2003, had the students with a class size of 120. But we got more than 120. All we can show there is my name, my reputation, my experience. But people have seen that the entire industry has taken a lot of courses from me, and I was one of the creators of activity-based management. And so everybody came up. There is no track record. There is no placement previous record. The total full-time faculty was 2.5. I am the half because I was also in Kellogg. The other 2 are Professor Sriram and a guy by name Dr. Raja Narasimhan. That's it. We started. But there were certain things I wanted to do. The Chinese thing came into my mind. One day we have to face the Chinese, at least for an economic warfare. It may be even a military warfare, I do not know. But before, what are all the weaknesses? We were not ready at that time. Now we should be ready. Planning is paramount. Uncertainties are inevitable. Worrying is optional. So plan it. So planning in the sense, not only the government also had now militarily stronger, but the government also wanted to have tremendous amount of economic liberalization. So open competition. And now if I create MBA students and also even IAS officers, all trained by us in such a way they understand global competition, because from a controlled and protected economy, we are going to be a global economy. So we have to know. Then what is the most important language? We mastered that. That is English. Every one of us know. Second, Hindi is there. But Hindi is not going to help us too much. Now do we want to have Chinese or Spanish or French? They are all spoken by very few people. Between China and Chinese-speaking countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, etc., and India, Hindi and whatnot, we are talking close to 37% of the world population knowing these two languages. That is one. But that is an objective way. But my objective thing is, why Chinese? Because all the others are European and other languages. All right? This is an Asian language. And they are able to, even in that movie, if you can see, we said, we thought Hindi, Chini, bye-bye. But they were saying bye-bye. I am killing you.
Right.
And we do not understand the difference between bye-bye and bye-bye. You see that Hakikat movie. And I said, look, let us make sure our students know not only Chinese language, but also Chinese culture, Chinese mindset, Chinese way of doing things deviously. And I thought there will be a better that we know Chinese before they learn Hindi.
Right.
So right from the beginning, we made Chinese as a required language, understand Chinese culture, doing business in China. Even if it is collaborating, it is better to know that language because that is the most popular language next to English or any other European languages. That's it. So that was the reason Chinese. Now then the next question is, I also found when there are too many people are in the decision-making process, as in ISB, or government, industry and private sector, all kinds of stuff, the decision-making gets delayed. But if there is only one person making the decision, provided he has enough money and therefore the economic clout or the power due to number of shares or whatnot, so I created a not-for-profit organization called Section 25 at the time, which also allows shares. So I had 98% of the shares. And whoever helped me, I gave half a percent, this and that. So if anything goes wrong, there is only one person is to be blamed. That is me. If anything goes right, everybody can take the credit, right? Who is going to argue with that thing? So it was like a one-man army. And actually, Pagal guy, a guy by name Alvin Engel, wrote, there are a lot of great things, but this is a one-man army. What happens if this guy collapses, right? And he is already 66 at that time. And he has a heart problem. So, yes, I prayed to God, give me at least 5 years, or 10 years, whatever, let me do something correct. And that's exactly what has happened. So we were able to quickly make the decision. And I take full responsibility for failure also. And it's all my money. So if anything goes wrong, I am the victim. Nobody can complain. And the rest of the population has less than 2%. So we were able to do that, collect money, and in many polls, in less than 5 years, we are top 10. And in the very first year, both TCS and Infosys gave us the tier 1 status. And in the first year, we had 100% placement and a fantastic salary, even though their total tuition fees was less than 3 lakhs. Imagine that. But they were getting on the average a salary of about 7 lakhs. So the payback period is like a 1. Even if you borrowed the entire 3 lakhs, all right, in less than a year you are finished. So it's a fantastic model. So therefore that affordable costs, I'm a cost guy. So I pushed that thing and also gave the world class, and many of the friends of mine, and how even in the first year we had a cash flow positive on the balance sheet. I'm sorry, the income statement. Yes, because many of the international faculty wanted to do it for India. And I had a fantastic network. Another statement is network is your net worth. So I used that thing, and they were all supporting from places like Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Michigan. And therefore, more, and to them the money that I am giving is peanuts, because we are all sufficiently well off. So they were giving. So all I have to do is only for the full-time faculty and whatnot. So obviously, right in the first year, I had cash flow positive. Then the second year, etc., success were happening. 100% placement. And everybody wanted to come, and we ratcheted up the number of faculty. So the international faculty at an affordable cost. See, even in ISB, it is generally Wharton and Kellogg, whereas I got everybody else, because I don't have any direct relations with the top 10 school. The only school we had a very good relation was the Illinois Institute of Technology. And they gave the certificate. So just like the ISB, they gave the certificate. The difference is 1/3 tuition fees. And the quality is approximately the same. So there is an unbelievable value. And therefore, people who are not afford came to us. So the success after that, we were continuous improvement. Every year, I don't stop. What can I do next year better than this? What else we can do? Additional faculty, additional thing. In less than 5 years, we got a fantastic land. Even though the government has 15 acres of land, the government changed from Jayalalitha government to Karunanidhi government. So there were all kinds of decision making and delay. I said, all right, forget about it. Let us go far from the madding crowd. Let us go to a place like Manamai. We saw 25 places. Get a 15 acres, that's enough to start with. Run the show. And right in 2008-9, we had a beautiful campus, not like this big and big. Now we are 32 acres compared to 15 acres. But the main course, and at that time the total students was only totally 280, no PGDM. So as and when it went increase, I was able to buy more land, more building, more space, more students, PGDM program, 2-year program. So we created it where anybody is 2 years or more, you go to the first year, 1 year program, because you are experienced. If you are less than 2 years, including 0, more than 70% were 0, join the regular program like the IAM. So we covered the total. So right now we have about 700 students in residence, and it will be going even further. So it's a great episode. We did borrow, and during this thing, when I reached the 75 years, remember that the original question and that one-man army that was ringing, and my main people also said, you have to have a succession plan for both ownership and leadership. In 2012-13, we got into Mohanlal Kamaraju and Educom, because technology was important. Though Educom is not doing well, but we are not having Educom directly, but the Educom chairman as an individual was a partner in the beginning, but he is not even a partner now. He is a supporter. So there are only 2 people, and so we have now partnership, and that guy is only 42 years. If anything happens, he will do that. And similarly, if anything happens, my son also will take charge. And we also now have a succession plan on leadership. We got a new dean. So now I am in a great shape, having others also to work, and creating a confidence to the current students, alumni, and the future students. The continuation sustainability will be even better than ever before, and so we can go forward. So that is my story, and this constant thinking gives me a tremendous amount of energy and a sense of satisfaction and an achievement far beyond as a one-man army, now a multiple division, multiple area, multiple people army also. So that's what it is happening.
Wow. So that completes the journey of Padma Shri awardee Dr. Bala V Balachandran and how he started from scratch and building an organization like Great Lakes Institute of Management. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, we'll discuss more about Uncle Bala. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed our channel, do subscribe and share it with your friends. Thank you.